is that we are not solely the product of our conditions, our upbringing, or our genetic makeup, but that the essential elements in long-term effectiveness, our habits, can be learned and deeply internalized. Stephen begins by identifying specific examples of results you can expect from living and applying the 7 habits, and shares how to get the most out of this program.
I will be presenting 7 interrelated habits that highly effective people have internalized, habits that are part of their very nature. I'd like to give you an idea of what you can expect, and also what you should do to meet these expectations. This is a life-changing program. I'm not using hyperbole. I'm not trying to exaggerate for effect. It is an absolute guarantee that if you will understand these habits, teach them to other people, and learn them well, and then apply, live them until they become part of your nature, it will change your life in a very fundamental way, for good, in these areas. 1, improved self-confidence, self-esteem. That will come largely out of a sense of better self-control. You're not victimized. You're not being controlled by circumstances. You are in control. 2, improved relationships. Many people have relationships that are deteriorating. They're broken, or they're breaking. It may be with their loved ones at home. It may be in their businesses. To significantly improve the quality of our relationships is one of the major expectations. You can expect it. It will happen. Those first 2 expectations are very related to each other. The higher your self-confidence is, the more you will respect others and work well with them. The less their weaknesses will be empowered by your depending upon them, relating to those weaknesses. Never build your emotional life on the weaknesses of other people. By doing so, you empower their weaknesses to control you. You magnify them. You strengthen them. You enlarge them. Third, your capacity to influence others will be significantly enhanced, to motivate others. How would you like to see your kids do their jobs cheerfully without being reminded? How would you like to see your employees or other of your working associates willingly sense your need, respond to it, cooperate, creatively solve problems? A 4th area of expectation is the spirit of adventure and creativity and joy and zest and excitement and happiness. The spirit of seizing new opportunities, doing new things, of growth, of learning. These things are very, very exciting. These are the 4 basic areas I think you can expect dramatic, even in some cases revolutionary results. But this is not a quick fix program. It is not based upon some technique or some instant revolution. It's an evolution. You have to pay the price. The price basically involves these things. Work very diligently to understand. Learn, in other words. Work with your mind to think deeply in sustained ways about this material. 2, teach it to other people. Shortly after you learn this material, teach it. By shortly, I mean within 24 to 48 hours. You simply will learn better when you teach. All of us have had that experience because your whole sense of responsibility is significantly increased. You know that you're expected to teach someone else or another group the same material that you're learning. It also will give you a sense of commitment to the material, simply because you're making a statement when you teach this material. It socially commits you, and that's powerfully reinforcing to your own motivation to live the material, to live the principles, to cultivate the habits. I encourage a commitment to teach, and think right now who you're going to teach and when. Put it on your calendar. Put it into your schedule. Literally, plan to teach it. I would encourage 2 times, once to your loved ones and once to your working associates, to others who you know would have an interest and you'd like to share this material with, you care about, people you like. But the most important activity, of course, is the doing, the applying, the living. Whenever we are enlightened about a correct principle, it is incumbent upon us to live it. That is the only basis on which we can receive further understanding of other principles, higher principles. That's the test of our integrity. Integrity basically is the value that we place upon ourselves. That's a test of our self-discipline. So those are the 3 basic activities: learning, teaching, doing, or living, applying the material. If you'll do those 3 things, this material will become part of the way you think. To use the computer metaphor, It will become part of the software of your head. And little by little, you'll find this material will become more and more yours, deeply internalized, and it will affect all those other areas that I identified up front that you can expect to have significant, even dramatic kinds of improvements in. Self-respect, self-confidence, improved relationship with others, improved capacity to motivate, to influence, and a whole new level of zest and excitement and adventure and joy and happiness and creativity in your life. Now, in this presentation, I'm going to organize it into 3 parts. The first part will involve giving the overview. What do we mean by basic habits? What does effectiveness mean? The second part will deal with the 7 habits themselves, and I will present them in 3 groups. Habits 1, 2, and 3 will be the first group, habits 4, 5, and 6 the second group, and habit 7 the third group. I'll also spend some time on each habit. The third part will be the review, where we'll study the relationship which the habits have to each other, and certain activities which will combine all of the habits at the same time. That will be a kind of summary part, so that we can revisit the habits and get an overall larger conceptual understanding of these 7 habits and how they relate to each other and to our own personal and organizational lives. I must say at this juncture that these basic habits, because they are internalized principles, apply as much to organizations, including family organizations and business organizations and professional organizations and so forth, as they do to individuals. They would apply to marriages, to dyads, to triads, to families, to public organizations, private organizations of every kind. These habits are generic habits. That means they're like common denominators. They apply everywhere. That's what principles do. They apply everywhere. Now, I'd like to return to the idea of teaching, why it is so powerful. And why, by the way, if you're parents and still have school-age children at home, I would encourage you to have them teach you what they're learning in every one of their classes, at least once a week, to teach the essence of what they're learning. In doing so, you can expect these results. It will be a meaningful bonding experience. You will genuinely be learning. How many of you could pass your kids' tests? You'll genuinely learn. Second, it will change the nature of the relationship. There'll be more of a sense of 2 human beings at an equal level. They become the teacher. You become the student. Third, they'll do much better in the classes that they don't like. They'll compensate for their natural disinterest in the subject or for the weaknesses of the teacher. Now, I'll tell you why these things will happen. You are changing your role from one of student or learner or participant in a personal and organization development experience to one of teacher. For instance, if you knew you were going to teach a large group of people tomorrow the same material I'm presenting today, would that affect your learning today? Dramatically. Why? Because you have a different role in your head. You have changed your role. Now, this is one of the most important things we want to emphasize. If you really want to significantly improve people's behavior, change people's pictures of their roles.